Welcome back to our channel where we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare coins, surprising penny errors, and shocking minting mistakes that can turn ordinary pocket change into extraordinary treasures. And today we are going to take you on an incredible journey into the world of the 1984 1-cent coin that has recently stirred up waves among collectors, experts, and coin dealers for being valued as high as $220 not because of its face value or metal content, but due to a number of fascinating, rare, and highly collectible mint errors and imperfections that make this small copper-plated zinc coin a huge deal in the numismatic world. And if you've ever come across a 1984 penny lying around in a drawer, stored in an old jar, or casually tossed aside as insignificant, this video is going to make you think twice, because this tiny treasure from over 4 decades ago might just be hiding a variety of valuable secrets that could fetch you serious money in the collector's market. So let's dive into the endless and intriguing ocean of error varieties, condition factors, minting flaws, and rare anomalies that can cause a 1984 penny to be valued at $220 or even more depending on the severity and uniqueness of the error. Starting with the most well-known and sought-after among these, the 1984 double die obverse, one of the most famous and widely recognized errors in all of modern Lincoln cent collecting, in which the doubling effect is most clearly visible on Lincoln's ear, where a second earlobe appears underneath the original, and this dramatic doubling mistake is a result of a hubbing error during the die creation process when the die receives multiple impressions from the hub but is misaligned during at least one of those impressions, creating an image that appears to have a ghost-like duplicate, especially on fine details like Lincoln's ear, eye, and jawline. And this distinct and very visible doubling error instantly sets the coin apart from regular 1984 cents and has made it a must-have for error coin collectors everywhere. But the double die obverse is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the 1984 1-cent error landscape, as there are countless other minting flaws and misstrikes that can skyrocket the coin's value, including off-center strikes, where the planchette, the blank metal disc that gets struck into a coin, was not properly aligned within the coin press, causing part of the design to be missing and a crescent of blank space to appear on the coin, and depending on how off-center the strike is, 5%, 10%, 25%, or even as much as 75%, the value can increase dramatically, especially if the date remains visible, which is critical for collectors looking to authenticate and categorize the error properly. And then there are broad-struck errors, which occur when the collar die that normally holds the planchette in place during striking malfunctions or is absent, allowing the metal to spread outwards, resulting in a coin that is larger in diameter than normal and lacks the usual raised rim, giving it a warped, stretched appearance that can be visually striking and highly desirable among collectors, especially when paired with a clean date and minimal circulation wear. And we also must not overlook die cracks, die chips, and die breaks, which are small but powerful forms of value-adding errors that occur when the dies used to strike the coins become worn or damaged, leading to raised lines, lumps, or breaks on the coin's surface where metal has filled in the cracks or voids in the die. And one of the more popular forms of this kind of error is the so-called BIE error, which occurs in the word liberty when a vertical die break appears between the B and the E, forming what looks like a tiny capital I and giving the coin a nickname that collectors specifically seek out. And while such an error might sound small or insignificant, certain examples of well-formed BIE errors can command high premiums among specialized Lincoln cent collectors. And then there are repunched mint marks or RPMs, which occur when the mint mark, in the case of the 1984 cent, usually a D for Denver or no mint mark for Philadelphia, is hand-punched more than once in slightly different positions, and these overlapping or shadowed mint marks are small but visible under magnification and form yet another highly prized variant in the world of error coins, and collectors prize such varieties especially when the repunching is strong, clear, and easily distinguishable from normal mint marks. And there are also examples of 1984 cents struck on the wrong planchette, such as a dime planchette, which results in a coin that is noticeably smaller and lighter than a regular cent but still bears the Lincoln cent design. And such dramatic wrong planchette errors are exceedingly rare but have been documented in other years and could theoretically exist for 1984 as well, making them potential jackpot finds if discovered in change or inherited collections. And let's not forget about struck-through errors where a foreign object such as grease, thread, cloth, or metal shavings interfered with the striking process, leaving an imprint or void in the coin's design where the object was, and these can lead to extremely strange-looking coins with missing details, smeared portraits, or unusual surface textures that confuse the untrained eye but delight experienced collectors, especially when the object that caused the error can be identified or when the struck-through area dramatically affects a major design element such as Lincoln's face or the date. And then we have partial collar strikes, also known as railroad rim errors, where the coin appears to have a step or shelf on the edge due to improper alignment during striking, creating a dual-level rim that resembles a train track and adds another layer of uniqueness and desirability. And sometimes 1984 pennies are found with lamination errors, which occur when the metal used to produce the coin had impurities or bonding issues, causing a thin layer of the surface to peel, bubble, or flake off either during minting or over time, leading to coins with a jagged, rough texture that makes them easily distinguishable from standard examples. And although lamination errors can vary greatly in appearance, those that are dramatic, large, or affect major design areas like the face or lettering can bring a nice premium from collectors who enjoy dramatic mint flaws. And another category includes missing letters or weak strikes, which can happen due to a filled die, worn die, or low striking pressure, where entire parts of the inscription such as "I in God we trust," "Liberty," or the date appear faint, incomplete, or missing entirely. And when such missing elements occur in otherwise uncirculated or mint-state coins, they tend to draw great interest as potential mint errors, especially when accompanied by other oddities or striking anomalies. And while errors are one major pillar of value, another hugely influential factor in the valuation of a 1984 1-cent coin is its condition and grade, as coins that are in mint state, MS, condition with no signs of wear, scratches, or discoloration can fetch much more than their circulated counterparts even without major errors, with coins graded MS65, MS66, or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC often commanding top dollar. And when those high-grade coins also feature dramatic errors or rare varieties, their value can increase exponentially, making it all the more important for collectors and enthusiasts to know what to look for. And this means inspecting your coins carefully under proper lighting, using a 10x magnifying glass or loupe, checking all lettering, numbers, rims, and surfaces for anything unusual or out of the ordinary, because you never know when you might stumble upon a coin that looks average at first glance but actually hides a $220 treasure due to one of the many possible error types we've just described. And in addition to error types and condition, provenance, and eye appeal also play a subtle but significant role in how much a coin is worth, with coins that have well-struck features, rich original luster, and attractive toning being more appealing to collectors than those that appear dull, dirty, or discolored. And speaking of toning, natural toning that occurs over decades of chemical interaction between the coin's surface and the environment can produce stunning rainbow patterns, golden hues, or violet shadows that are prized by collectors for their beauty and uniqueness. And although toning is not technically an error, a beautifully toned 1984 penny with or without errors can often command a premium just due to its visual impact and rarity. And in rare cases, combinations of multiple errors such as a double die with an off-center strike, or a repunched mint mark with a lamination error, can result in hybrid error coins that are exceedingly scarce. Next, 1988 1-cent USA coin, where we dive into the world of rare coins, unbelievable penny errors, and the hidden treasures that might just be sitting unnoticed in your own pocket change. And in today's video we are exploring the fascinating story behind the 1988 1-cent coin, a penny that on the surface may appear to be just another ordinary copper-plated zinc cent minted in the millions, yet due to an array of rare and intriguing minting mistakes, unique varieties, and small but highly significant anomalies, has managed to grab the attention of collectors and numismatists alike, some of whom are paying up to $164 or more for certain error-laden specimens of this year, making the 1988 penny far more valuable than its face value would suggest. So if you think all pennies are worth just a cent, think again. Because once you discover the wild world of mint errors, double dies, transitional varieties, and the many fascinating quirks that can occur during the minting process, you'll understand why a seemingly humble 1988 penny might be worth big money, and why collectors and enthusiasts across the country are constantly searching, inspecting, and cataloging every detail on this specific year to uncover a possible goldmine hiding in plain sight. And at the heart of the 1988 penny's value explosion is one particular and now famous error known as the 1988 reverse of 1989 variety, which might not sound dramatic at first but has become one of the most highly sought-after varieties among Lincoln cent collectors, and it all stems from the change that was meant to take place at the Philadelphia and Denver mints in 1989 when the mint introduced a new reverse design die featuring a revised style of the designer's initials, particularly the initials FG, for Frank Gasparro, which are located to the right of the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse side of the coin. And the change was subtle but critical, because while the old reverse die used from 1982 through 1988 displayed the initials FG with a shallow, wide font, and the initials placed farther from the building, the new 1989 reverse die design featured a sharper, closer, and bolder style of FG that was placed nearer to the Lincoln Memorial's base. But here's where the magic happens: through either an oversight, experimentation, or intentional die usage crossover, a limited number of 1988 Lincoln cents were struck using the reverse die intended for 1989, meaning these 1988 coins have a reverse that technically belongs to the next year. And this variety, referred to as the 1988 with reverse of 1989, has become a standout rarity because it essentially captures a transitional error in action. A mistake in die pairing that gives rise to a coin that is simultaneously part of two different years, and because most casual observers wouldn't even notice the difference between the two reverse types, this variety went undetected for years until sharp-eyed collectors finally began to recognize its importance and rarity, with both the Philadelphia and Denver mint versions of this variety gaining significant traction. And as more collectors become aware of this hidden gem, the demand and price have continued to rise, with well-preserved, high-grade examples reaching well over $164 and sometimes even more in auction houses and online marketplaces. And the excitement doesn't end there, because the 1988 cent has also been known to display other minting anomalies that contribute to its collectability, such as double dies, which occur when the coin die receives two misaligned impressions from the hub, resulting in a doubling effect that can be seen on various parts of the design, including the date, the lettering such as Liberty and In God We Trust, or the bust of Lincoln himself. And while 1988 is not as well known for dramatic double die obverse errors as other years like 1983 or 1984, there have been confirmed examples of minor doubling that still generate interest among specialists, especially when the doubling is clear and prominent under magnification. And then there are the famous repunched mint marks, or RPMs, especially from the Denver mint, where the D mint mark was manually punched into the working dies during this era, and any misalignment or restrike would lead to the appearance of two overlapping mint marks, giving rise to an RPM error that is easy to miss with the naked eye but quite valuable under a loupe or microscope. And the presence of RPMs in 1988 D cents has made many collectors scrutinize their coins in the hope of discovering one of these desirable errors, particularly when the repunching is strong and visible even without professional magnification equipment. And adding to the intrigue of the 1988 cent are off-center strike errors, which occur when the blank planchette is not correctly centered in the coin press, leading to a coin that is missing part of its design and shows a blank crescent of unstruck metal, and depending on the degree of the off-center strike. Coins with this error can be worth significantly more, especially if the date is still fully visible, since an off-center coin without a visible date loses much of its collectible appeal, but one with an identifiable year like 1988 adds verification and uniqueness to the piece, and these coins, especially in uncirculated condition, can easily fetch values that push or exceed that $164 threshold. And then there are broad struck errors, which occur when the retaining collar that helps form the rim of the coin fails during striking, causing the coin to expand outward without forming the usual raised rim, and this results in a larger, flatter-looking coin that's visually distinctive and highly desirable among collectors who chase error types. And in addition to these major and visible minting flaws, there are also subtler yet equally intriguing errors that enhance the collectability of the 1988 penny, such as die chips and die cracks, which occur when small pieces of the die used to strike the coin break away due to stress, leaving behind small lumps or raised lines of metal on the struck coins. And one particularly popular type of die chip error on Lincoln cents is the so-called spiked head or cud on the chin, where an extra blob of metal appears around Lincoln's face, giving him an unusual appearance. And these minor anomalies, while small, are part of what makes coin collecting so engaging and detail-oriented. And when such errors appear on a transitional variety like the 1988 reverse of 1989, the value can jump even higher, and struck-through errors also make their appearance on 1988 cents, where foreign objects like grease, thread, or other debris interfere with the striking process, leaving a void or ghostly image on the surface of the coin. And in some cases, struck-through errors can dramatically alter the appearance of the coin, erasing portions of Lincoln's face or lettering, making them fascinating and valuable collector's pieces. And the 1988 penny can also be found with partial collar errors, often referred to as railroad rim coins, where the edge of the coin appears to have a stepped design due to improper seating in the press, and these are especially valued when paired with sharp detail and a clear date. And another factor that dramatically affects the value of the 1988 penny is its grade and eye appeal, as coins that remain in mint state condition, particularly MS65 or higher as graded by major services like PCGS or NGC, tend to command the highest prices in the marketplace, because the combination of a rare error and pristine surfaces creates the kind of premium collector item that draws intense interest. And while most circulated 1988 cents show signs of wear, scratches, and discoloration, those that have been preserved in original mint condition are significantly rarer and more valuable, especially if they also include a known error variety or unusual toning that enhances their visual appeal, and natural toning. Those rainbow hues and golden sheens that develop over time due to exposure to air, humidity, and storage conditions can also add to a coin's desirability, especially when it occurs in patterns or colors that are visually stunning. And it's important to note that many errors and varieties are extremely difficult to spot without proper tools, meaning that thousands of valuable 1988 cents might still be sitting unnoticed in drawers, jars, and old change purses across the country, waiting for someone with a sharp eye, a magnifier, and a bit of patience to uncover them. And since the mintage for the 1988 cent was in the billions, the law of large numbers tells us that a number of errors are likely still undiscovered in circulation, and the hunt is very much still alive, driven by the growing interest in coin collecting and the power of online communities, auction platforms, and social media groups that allow collectors to share discoveries, compare varieties. Last 1985 D1 cent USA coin. Today we are going to dive into the mysterious and fascinating world of the 1985 D Lincoln 1 cent coin, a piece that on the surface seems like an ordinary penny produced during a high mintage year, yet due to a range of incredible and often overlooked minting mistakes, rare varieties, striking errors, and mechanical flaws, has found itself in the spotlight among coin collectors and enthusiasts, with specific examples commanding prices of up to $53 or more depending on the severity and uniqueness of the error involved. And in this video we are going to take you on a long and detailed journey deep into the heart of what makes this particular penny so valuable, sought after, and important in the realm of modern American numismatics. And while many people might look at a 1985 D penny and see only its 1-cent face value, those who understand the fascinating nuances of coin minting know that behind the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln lies a world of error types, design oddities, transitional flaws, and production quirks that can transform a small copper-plated zinc disc into a desirable and high-value collectible. And to begin this exploration we need to understand that the Denver Mint, responsible for minting the 1985 D penny, produced well over 5 billion of these coins. And while that seems to suggest there's nothing rare about this issue, it's actually the very scale of production that makes the occurrence of mint errors more likely and simultaneously more significant, because in such high-volume environments, mechanical mishaps and human error can lead to the creation of flawed coins that bypass quality control and end up in circulation, making them rare finds for those who know what to look for. And perhaps the most well-documented and desirable error for the 1985 D penny is the presence of die cracks and die chips, particularly those that appear around Lincoln's eye, jaw, and neck area, as well as in the fields surrounding the lettering, and these occur when the steel dies used to strike the coin begin to deteriorate from repeated use, forming tiny cracks and breaks that result in raised metal lines or lumps on the surface of the coin once struck. And collectors are especially fond of dramatic die breaks known as cuds, where a portion of the die has broken off completely, causing a blob-like raised area of metal to appear on the coin, typically at the rim and often obliterating parts of the design. And 1985 D cents with large, clean cuds can fetch high premiums, particularly when they affect key areas like the date, the motto "I in God we trust," or the word liberty, making the coin both visually striking and numismatically significant. And another highly collectible feature in 1985 D cents is the repunched mint mark, or RPM, which is a result of the Denver D mint mark being hand-punched onto the die more than once in slightly different positions, leading to a noticeable doubling or shadow effect that is visible under magnification and sometimes even to the naked eye. And collectors have catalogued several varieties of RPMs for this year, including north, south, east, and west repunches depending on the direction of the misalignment, and examples with bold, clear doubling are especially prized, particularly when the coin is also in high-grade condition or displays other error features. And beyond RPMs, the 1985 D penny is also known for examples of off-center strikes, where the blank planchette was not properly centered in the striking chamber, resulting in a coin with a crescent-shaped blank area and an incomplete design. And the degree of off-center striking can vary, with examples showing 5% to over 70% off-center being recorded, and the value of such coins increases significantly if the date remains fully visible, as this allows for accurate attribution and identification. And collectors are often willing to pay a premium for such coins that combine dramatic misalignment with full legibility of the date and mint mark. And another error type adding to the 1985 D penny's value is the broad strike error, which occurs when the collar die that holds the coin in place during striking is absent or malfunctioning, allowing the metal to spread outward without forming the normal rim. And such coins appear wider and flatter than usual, sometimes with design elements extending to the very edge. And these broad-struck coins can look warped or bloated but are very collectible due to their visual appeal and the way they showcase the importance of proper die function in the minting process. And yet another intriguing variety is the struck-through error, where a foreign object such as grease, thread, fabric, or even a tiny piece of another planchette gets between the die and the blank coin during striking, leaving behind an indentation, smear, or missing design element where the object blocked the die from fully impressing the image onto the coin, and while struck through. Grease errors can lead to missing or faint design details, such as a ghost-like or vanished portion of Lincoln's face or the motto. More exotic struck-throughs involving solid objects can produce coins that are one of a kind and highly valued for their uniqueness and visual impact. And then there are 1985 cents struck on the wrong planchette, which, although extremely rare, have been discovered from time to time in other years and could theoretically exist for 1985 as well, such as cents struck on dime planchets, resulting in smaller, lighter coins with missing design elements due to the smaller size of the planchette. And these coins are highly prized by collectors when authenticated because they represent an extreme form of mint error that is both visually unusual and mechanically fascinating. And another key factor in value is the presence of doubled dies. Although major doubled die obverses are not commonly associated with the 1985 cent, minor doubling can and does occur, often seen in the lettering, date, or Lincoln's profile, and while subtle, when verified and certified by grading services, even minor doubled dies can enhance a coin's value, especially when found in coins that are otherwise in pristine or uncirculated condition. And lamination errors are also known to affect this year, where impurities or bonding flaws in the coin's metallic surface lead to peeling, bubbling, or flaking. And while sometimes mistaken for post-mint damage, true lamination flaws can be highly collectible when large and clearly original to the minting process, particularly when they impact major design areas or create visually dramatic effects. And partial collar strikes, sometimes called railroad rim errors, can also be found in 1985 cents, where the edge of the coin appears to have a stepped or grooved profile due to the collar not engaging correctly during striking. And these create a distinctive look that collectors appreciate both for its mechanical interest and aesthetic uniqueness. And when it comes to value, the condition of the coin plays an enormous role, with examples that remain in mint state, typically MS-60 or higher, commanding significantly more than circulated examples, particularly when they also exhibit one or more of the error types described above. And coins graded MS-65, MS-66, or higher by services like PCGS and NGC become exponentially more valuable due to their pristine surfaces, sharp details, and luster. And when such high-grade coins also include RPMs, CUDs, or dramatic strike errors, they can easily exceed the $53 mark and sometimes even reach into triple-digit territory among specialized collectors and registry set participants. And even tone can affect value, as coins that have developed natural rainbow toning or golden hues due to chemical interaction with air and environment over time can be more desirable, and visually attractive toning on a 1985 penny, especially in mint state and paired with an error, can boost collector interest and final sale price considerably. And provenance and market trends also play a role, as coins with a well-documented history, or those that have appeared in well-known collections or public auctions, often carry added value simply due to their known pedigree and exposure. And with the rise of online marketplaces, social media coin groups, and digital auction platforms, awareness of these valuable error types is increasing, leading more people to actively search through their coins, share discoveries, and build up error-centric collections that highlight the range of possibilities that a single date and mint mark can offer. And this surge in interest also means that previously overlooked varieties, such as minor RPMs or lamination cracks, are now being catalogued, photographed, and traded with greater frequency, further fueling the demand for interesting 1985 cents. And while $53 may not seem like a fortune, it represents a 5,300% increase over face value.